The new game is ready as well, so let's jump into the draft here for Game 2 of this best-of-3 series. Are we going to get a Game 3? Honest opinion from both of you. Can we get a Game 3?
I'm going to wait until I see the OG's first 2 picks.
That's
I definitely
cheating.
think they can.
We're fine.
But it comes down to the draft.
Yeah.
Cheater disabled.
That's like basically what I said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm agreeing with you.
All right,
do you want me to disagree with you?
I
or
don't
what?
want you to disagree.
Apparently you have a cheating panel, but that's okay. I forgive you both. All right, so.
I have faith in Fly to reevaluate the first 2 picks, and this time OG has gone for the first pick, which is different. Last time they had gone for second pick. Maybe that'll make a difference, but we'll see.
Have a couple of altercations for the bans as well. Puck being banned out here for OG's second ban. Evil Genius is going to start off with a Chen, then a Magnus ban. Why would you ban a Magnus this early?
Sumail, actually. I'm surprised that the Evil Geniuses opt to ban out the Magnus, but I don't really actually have a good justification. I mean, like, it's a Sumail hero, which is why I'm surprised that
it could have something to do with Kezu's hero pool. I mean, for example, last game that we saw EG ban Enigma, which is not really a hero that you normally ban, except that Kezu played it once yesterday. So maybe they did a little research on Kezu and be like, okay, he's a Magnus player, we'll take it out.
There's definitely some targeting going on. I mean,
Sure.
OG ban out Bane and Puck, so that's definitely going to be different.
Actually, you're not going to see 3 heroes from the last game, I believe. It's Bane, Puck, and Tusk.
Yeah.
So at least we get to see a little bit more of a diversified hero pool. Still waiting for EG to ban their final hero. It's going to be Shadow Shaman. So a lot of support hate for the very first phase. And a very quick pick here for OG. Going to go for the Tiny, who's been a very popular first pick for the tournament so far.
And consistently doesn't really reveal very much information about like where you're going to play him, what you're going to do with him.
Yeah, unlike the cores that we saw OG picked up in the last game, which were just defensive cores to begin with, Tiny could actually pressure the opposing lane without supports even being in there in the first place, right? Compared that to Terrorblade, to the Dragonite, I think OG is off to a better start already.
So I told you, I only need to see the first 2 picks, and then I know that Fly's got his mentality back together.
Okay, we'll see if you're a prophet.
Yeah.
You might not be a Kunko, you could be a prophet here.
There we go.
All right.
Death
Oh,
Prophet.
wow, okay.
Death Prophet.
I didn't say Death Prophet, but okay. They're even going to get Earth Spirit as well. So EG opening up really strong. We did see a Death Prophet earlier today. Not successful, but actually, no, it was
No,
successful.
it did win. Death Prophet win, yeah.
It won, and it was partly because Spirit wasn't able to punish the Exorcism cooldown. Whenever you would reveal a Death Prophet this early on, especially against a Tiny, so like one of the perks is obviously Tiny struggles with armor, Grow gives armor at some points, but Exorcism will come online earlier. It's useful for pushing, it's useful for combat. We'll see if Evil Geniuses, pick up a Solar Crest and stuff like that, but the main thing that OG need to be concerned about now is like, okay, there's a big teamfight ultimate available, and if we're able to play around that, then Death Prophet's viability and usefulness goes down big time.
I think another big factor of the DP pick against Tiny is the fact that laning stage is really rough for Tiny. I mean, this is actually a very similar draft that we saw in the previous series where DP was picked into Team Spirit's Tiny, and instead of putting him mid like they've done all tournament on ILTW, they moved him to the off lane just to dodge that matchup. So to me, this is looking like a very strong counter pick. And you see Fly is actually using a ton of his remaining time just to see, like, okay, do we now play Tiny in the mid lane? Do we avoid the Death Prophet? So a really strong counter core pick already from EG.
Oh, interesting decision going for Ancient Apparition. Now the benefit of AA is that HP regen not going to really be a factor. Also the Chilling Touch, very, very good when it comes to ganking. Not a very good defensive hero. The thing I'm worried about here is that Evil Geniuses, you're running a Death Prophet. If there's a strong mid laner on the side of OG, expect a lot of Earth Spirit ganks. But how does the AA fit into the meta currently?
Yeah, I agree. Defensively, AA lacks a lot. Like these days, dual mid is extremely common, and ranged supports that are dual mid are hard to find, and AA is not one of them. These days, AAs are played very selfishly. We'll see them mainly stick to pulling and gathering experience because that level 6 is so valuable and so important. The flip side is that if you do decide to lane with Tiny, which we still don't really know where Tiny is, then obviously the Chilling Touch is going to be nice. Each right click from Tiny is going to do an immense amount of damage, but you also have a lot of setup for Cold Feet, and your Ice Vortex gets boosted, or will boost a lot of Tiny's damage as well.
I'm surprised that PL hasn't been touched so far. Definitely one of the the big hero, and I think OG might want to consider taking it out. They're taking out that heroes that they can't really have good lockdown against, because you already selected one of your supports. Lycan obviously just runs away from cold feet, and Piao easily runs away.
You can just purge it off.
Exactly. So we'll see if OG decides to ban the Piao here, or are they just not afraid of it?
Looking at the support duo for OG, you have an Ancient Apparition. Now you need a hero that's able to combo with him to proc the cold feet.
Yeah.
Now Clock has just been banned out by Evil Geniuses. Tusk was banned out first phase by OG. What would you ideally look for to pair it with the Ancient Apparition?
You don't have to just simply look at it from the support duel. You could also look at it from the cores, right? We've seen AA plus Sven, pretty old school combo. I think the newer school will be AA CK. So there's a lot of hero picks still left in the pool that OG could go for combo, even if you just want to do like AA Tiny, like Avalanche toss in place. That will definitely make the Kofi tick. So I don't think you want to, or you need to worry about the combination play too much, but rather how you want to affect the early to mid game. Because one of the things that AA also does very well is his ability to impact and deal burst damage with his Chilling Touch. So there's a couple combination heroes you could pick with that spell as well.
Yeah, I like the idea of going for a core synergy. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing a DK again from OG.
Sure.
Obviously, game one was less than ideal, but that was other factors. DK would be able to deal with Death Prophet and lane, and obviously later on he has plenty of armor.
Warlock now going to be taking the field. We saw this hero yesterday. Now going to be on the side of Evil Geniuses. There's actually something to consider here. Lots of regen on the side of Evil Geniuses. You've got the Death Prophet with the Spirit Siphon, Warlock with the heal as well. I guess this is the benefit when you're running an Ancient Apparition. The heal's not going to be as effective as they normally would be.
That's for sure. But EG is definitely going to look for a playstyle where they put multiple cores up in the front line, and then they just look to counter-initiate with the Warlock. That's exactly what they did yesterday against PG Barracks. And against a Tiny lineup especially, right? In the first series we saw when Team Spirit kept picking up the Tiny, they're the one that's forcing the engagement every time, which is normally good because you could blow up and kill people unless you're engaging into very, very tanky cores. And so EG pick up a couple of tanky core. Once the initiation comes, you just counter initiation with Warlock, and all of a sudden it's OG on the back foot for the one that's initiating. So I like the EG setup so far, but there's still various ways that you could play around the strategy.
Going off of what Lumi said, Tsunami, now we got the Brewmaster picked up by OG. Brewmaster is a fighting hero. Does OG still play passively or reactively to EG, or do they take the game into their hands and fight into EG?
I think right now, the way that Brewmaster is being played is that there was the old paradigm where it's like, okay, well, Primal splits on like a massive cooldown, and you know, every time Primal splits up, then well, okay, let's go find a team fight or something like that. These days, the modern Brewmaster is like, okay, you just park him in lane, make the enemy carry's life hell with constant drunken hazing. Then, if you find a kill opportunity on your own, go for it. Use Primal Split. If you need to use it to survive, go for it. Use Primal Split. If you want to come mid, roam, find a kill, use Primal Split. And so I imagine that, especially with an AA, the most important thing is it's going to be getting AA experience. And then, honestly, a combination of Brewmaster with an Ice Blast can probably find kills. And the Brewmaster pick is especially good because maybe not so much against Phantom Lancer, which you had mentioned would probably come earlier, but the spell Magic will do a ton of damage to Warlock's Chaotic Offering.
And his PL Illusions. So
and the PL Illusions.
The spell Magic actually could one-shot I think the lower levels of the Golem, which is pretty decent. Here's the thing, I actually dislike the Brewmaster pick quite a bit this game. Against cores, you want Brewmaster where Drunken Haze is excellent, right? For example, imagine there's a Sven. You throw a Drunken Haze on him, like he's now crippled. Death Prophet doesn't care about being Drunken Haze. She doesn't really even care being thrown up in the air as long as she has her ult going. And PL could actually get rid of the Drunken Haze quite easily. And it's hard to actually find the real PL in the first place to throw him up in the air unless you Dispel Magic. So Brewmaster, a very good hero. We've seen him do very well in a ton of different scenarios and tournaments. I'm not sure if he's the best pick in this game.
Now, with the addition of the Medusa here for OG, how's this lineup looking to you so far, Lumi? What are they aiming for with this current draft?
For OG?
For OG.
It seems like they're going to just go for very strong laning heroes and then just go for more of a mid to late game team fight victory, which I'm not sure if that's a good idea against EG. It seems like EG, if you give them more time and space, they just out-farm you. They have probably two of the best farmer in the whole game, both RTZ and Sumail. Yes, Sumail supposedly the off lane, but so far I've seen more mid than off lane, and he's farming a ton as well.
That's somewhat true, but if you consider the heroes, like Medusa's a much faster farmer in the late game situation than Phantom Lancer. And I wonder almost if picking Medusa is like, go ahead, build the Battle Fury first. I don't care. You're not going to mana burn me with Diffusal then.
We've seen actually Battle Fury and then go back for the Diffusal Blade. So it's, you know, it's always hard to say.
Final ban here for Evil Geniuses. They're getting rid of the Venomancer from OG. 7 seconds in the pool. Batrider is going to be eliminated for OG. So EG, Venomancer, OG, Batrider. What are we looking for these final 2 picks?
OG definitely need a very strong lockdown support on the 4 position. They are still very weak on the department. How do you catch the PL is the big question here. It doesn't matter if
10 seconds remaining.
You could like out-carry the PL, right? Like that's kind of what OG's game plan is. Like you still need to kill the PL a bunch of times for you to have a chance. And that's going to be it. It's going to be a position for Earthshaker. Not something we have seen in a while.
No, it fell off big time.
Or you could throw a curveball and move the Brewmaster to a 4 and do a 3 Earthshaker. But I think the 4 Earthshaker is probably much better here.
Yeah, and a 4 Earthshaker and a dual mid Earthshaker, because Medusa's going to need help. Otherwise, Earth Spirit's just going to roll all over her.
Okay, so OG going for another hero with displacement abilities. Evil Genius is going to finalize with a Lifestealer.
Triple core again for EG.
Dude,
seems like
how do you, it's the misery is just on another level right now.
So I think the Lifestealer pick is excellent this game. So once you rage, you don't care about Flyseer, you don't care about Earthshaker, you don't care about Tiny because you can open wounds and just go right on him.
You don't care about Brewmaster because you're
not too much either.
Cycloned.
So yeah, I think EG is going to run the show again. I like the draft a lot.
This time I'm going to go OG.
Okay.
I have faith in the Brewmaster to do, like, so the laning phase is going to be miserable for Kezu because he's not going to be able to haze anyone and he's not going to be able to do anything mid because you got a Medusa mid. But Medusa's one of these heroes that people have kind of lost faith in, and I don't think it's warranted quite yet. I mean, Phantom Lancer is definitely one of the primary counters against Medusa, but if EG can't manage to close this game out in like 40 minutes, then OG are going to have a much easier time out farming EG.
Okay, looks like the panel, they've finalized their decisions. We have 1 for EG, 1 for OG. We're going to throw over to our casters right now. Our Australian duo, Basskip and GoDz, take it away for game number 2.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 2 of Evil Geniuses versus Team OG. OG took a defeat in game 1. I had my teams mixed up there. I was like, OG took game 1.
They both have Gs.
Yeah,
you got the OG and the EG. It gets a little bit confusing sometimes, but
bear with me.
Yeah.
Getting old.
So we had a 1-1 split on the panel in terms of their thoughts on the draft and who's going to take this game. What are you feeling, Parker?
I think EG, just play-wise and confidence-wise, are just looking more dominant. They've got their full roster. Yes, they're a newer roster, but OG playing with the stand-ins, even though one of them is their coach. I feel like EG came in as, to me, fairly heavy favorites. OG struggled against Pain Gaming. So I think draft-wise, pretty even. I don't think there's the best answers to Medusa. The Lifestealer pick seems a bit odd to me this game, but we'll see how it works for EG.
Yeah, and the only question mark that was hanging over EG is that they didn't have any captain's mode officials with the new roster. But I mean, you look at the team, and there is just so much star power here, right? I don't even know necessarily if they're at the moment winning on the back of great coordination and great team play, so much as they just have such good individual players that they seem to be muscling through that way.
Well, none of the games they've had to have been close for them, so they've never had those big 5-on-5 clashes on equal terms. It's always been like, well, they won all 3 lanes. Doesn't matter there, because team fights don't really exist when one team has a 10, 15K gold lead and just keeps getting kills and pickoffs.
Yeah, and I'm going to have a quick pause. So we are going to have, again, it's the same sort of formula that you were talking about in the previous game with all 3 cores able to farm, able to shove lanes, have an impact.
And Sumail's still playing mid.
Yeah, he is still just playing mid. So, so much for that off lane.
EG's solution to, you know, picking up Misery and moving Sumail, putting Fear back on core is very much to just not have an offlaner. You don't need an offlaner, it seems. As they run all 3 of their players on kind of carry / mid heroes.
Yeah. So the one thing that we do actually have here is that we've got so we've got Mad on the Earthshaker, and Jerax is on the Tiny. So it is actually going to be Core Shaker for Tiny, and Kezu handling the safe lane on the Brewmasters.
We saw this in the show match. Seb showing off his mid shaker.
Yep. Yeah, maybe feeling a little bit inspired there. Jerax just charging forward onto Sumail.
I mean, with a block like that, you don't want to go near this Tiny because he will toss you under the tower if you're not careful. And there's the toss back. Shaker is there, has a totem, but does not have any points, any stuns. And Sumail actually going to get the better of Jerax here with a lot of harass. Was perhaps not the most efficient trading. Although Sumail does not get too many last hits while that's all going on.
Yeah, I think Jerax is just here to, oh, another toss back, just more harassment on the Sumail. They're just going to punch him, and the Spirit Siphon's actually on cooldown. I don't think he's going to die, but they're driving him a long way back and setting up farm for the Earthshaker.
TP from Earth Spirit here, potential counterplay available from Crit. He's going to roll on in, catches the Shaker, gets immediately toned up. There's a big Radiant creep wave, and yeah, Crit, you do not want to be trying to fight your way through that one.
I like this play from Crit, keeping the wave just outside of the tower so that it makes it a little bit easier for Sumail to get CS. And if they can hold the wave here, that's where the threat of the toss back becomes non-existent if Sumail can just play underneath his tower. So it's a very small play, but I think it's going to have a really big impact with how this mid lane plays out.
We'll see where this wave ends up now that there is a triple range creep under the tower, likely going down. Crit needs to be careful. He may be the one in danger of being tossed back now, as Tiny does not go for the stun here. A bit mana stuffed with the build he's going for, so we'll get the tree throw. 4 position Tiny. Talk to me about that, Kip. What are you trying to get out of this hero when you played in the 4 position role?
I feel like for the most part, you're just trying to move around. It's already what we've been seeing. Use the toss back, use it to set up kills. You can be a little bit suicidal. I don't think you're really planning on scaling too far into the late game. I don't even know what kind of items he's going to be able to pick up here. Maybe if things go really well, we'll just see some, like an Arcanes in the Blink, something along those lines. But roll in, they catch Mad, but no real follow-up. Sumail, I don't think wants to use the Spirit Siphon charge. He'd prefer to get to level 3 before he throws it out.
Yeah, that long cooldown can be kind of crippling here. Bottom lane, KheZu has managed to hold his own pretty well, getting some CS here and there. Arteezy is, of course, winning the battle with the help of Misery, but ultimately it's not a lane being won by EG. And for the first time, it feels like in an EG game, not necessarily winning all 3 lanes, or at least winning the laning stage. It's actually a slight OG-favored laning stage right now.
Yeah, it's working out really well. The Lifestealer is not really farming all that much up top, just getting zoned out and blinked away at by Fly. Resolution is getting pretty much perfect CS.
Mid lane, Crit's gone down. It looked like, did he miss a roll under the tower? Didn't even use, he got tossed under.
Yeah, he got tossed back.
Yeah. It's on cooldown there, but Jerax throwing him in and Seb finishing him off, helping finish him off. Bottom lane, 3-man rotation. No Spirit TP's down here as soon as he respawns. They want to get the kill here with 3 showing up. You don't want to just settle for some harass and zoning KheZu. Problem is, Earth Spirit very far back, can't actually roll in, and they will zone KheZu, but not quite the outcome they were hoping for, I imagine.
The other really nice thing about the position for Tiny this game is he can act for all 3 of his cores, he can just act as a Blink Dagger, right? He can just toss the Brewmaster in, he can toss the Medusa in, toss the Earthshaker in, and that could actually be super valuable this game, potentially against the PL early on. Might enable them to get some kills against the PL or the Death Prophet that they might otherwise not be able to get.
Yeah, and even early on, when Shaker as a mid is going to get some fast levels, he's not necessarily going to have a Blink Dagger timing to match like his early levels, so having something like a Tiny can be very helpful. Sumail upping the aggression on 7 in the mid lane.
Middle tower is under attack.
Haste. It's going to be Jerax coming in here, doing what he can, but there's friends in the neighborhood as Crit gonna kick Jerax back in, saying, take a piece of your own medicine. You throw people in the towers, I kick people in the towers. Jerax now being chased down, does have a TP scroll. The Crypt Storm not quite enough, but Jerax will be brought down by the hasted Earth Spirit. Nicely played by EG.
Yeah, Jerax is renowned for his Earth Spirit, but Crit also very, very solid on the hero. That was a nice rotation through. Misery's finally rotated up top, so Fear is now able to start picking up the pace a little bit more in terms of CS, though. That does mean that the pressure comes off of KheZu down bottom.
Slow coming out from the open wounds. Crit could line up a roll, but I don't think he wants to do so that close to the tower. Resolution, not really in any danger. Has the wand, can go south. He's got plenty of sustain should he need it. Bottom lane, it's Arteezy. Needs to be a little bit careful. Perhaps look at the kill on Jesse. Throws the lance at Jerax instead, but yeah, Arteezy has Tango as well as one charge just to play around with, so should be okay here.
He's only got the 1 point in the Spirit Lance at the moment,
yeah.
Not really that threatening, but he is still going for KheZu here. There's Haze coming out. He wants KheZu to go all the way back. There is a shrine waiting for him. So I think that's what OG are going to opt to go and do, just tap that shrine. Maybe Mad going to come over as well, potentially.
We're starting to see, yeah, this Shaker Mad struggle to compete in this mid lane. Once Sumail got the levels in both Spirit Siphon and Crypt Swarm, all of a sudden the harass just getting spammed out onto this poor Shaker, and he cannot get close to a death prop. You go in to try and totem her, well, that's when you get Spirit Siphon.
And they got the Fissure down, and Jarex was charging forward, trying for the toss back, but could have even been super dangerous going for that toss back in that situation.
Yeah.
He immediately gets the Siphon off. If Tiny runs forward, gets a second Siphon. Fly is also here, man. They really want this kill. Fissure's off cooldown, but no Avalanche for the follow-up stun. And I think level 1 Fissure is not going to be, well, 1 second stun is not going to be enough for Jarex to close the gap.
Pretty big level discrepancy in that mid lane with Tiny.
And Resolution left alone up top now.
TP support coming in from the AA, but that's not the best counter ganker. Resolution has 1 charges. Will he get them off? Does do so. Still being chased down. 1 more right click going to be needed from Crit. The AA maybe going to save the day. Does not do so. Crit will die. But they bring down the carry Medusa.
Yeah, and I wonder if this is going to be the moment for the
bottom lane tip. They're looking for Arteezy. Can they get this kill here? The clap going to slow him down, but he immediately doppelgangers down. He's back to safety. The toss is there, but he gets tossed into Earth Spirit. Stun, the Boulder Smash working to help Arteezy get back to safety. I believe it would have been fine regardless.
Yeah, the Thunderclap was still on cooldown. I think he was going to be A-okay, and he's also got a shrine to retreat back to. It's just going to be picking up some treads at the moment. Has the 3rd point in the Phantom Rush. I don't know. I mean, this is normally led into the Battle Fury build, but maybe this game we'll see him just go for the Diffuse. Not sure.
Lane Exorcism. Nice Fissure block. If he doesn't get that, he's a dead man. Sumail will instead use the Exorcism, likely to do damage this tier 1 tower. He's just charging forward. He's like, all right, Shaker. You want to mess around here? Sumail needs to be careful. He's got 2 raindrop, we've got raindrop as well as 2 Spirit Siphon charges. They need a burst Sumail. Can they do this in time? No, he can't. Sumail gets the burst. He's looking for the second with another Spirit Siphon. The Cold Feet luckily will proc. Fly. Ooh, not quite being brought down. Jarex needs to be careful. Needs the toss damage soon. No more raindrops on Sumail means he's a little bit more exposed. But that Exorcism damage this early on against some somewhat low armor heroes, tearing them up. Shaker will TP in, but Sumail, he's back to full. All that Exorcism damage means he's been healed up.
Yep, Sumail playing mid the way that Sumail always plays mid, applying a ton of pressure, forcing all the supports to come and address him, and that's exactly what it's exactly what Arteezy and Fear love to see. All of this space on the map to continue farming. The Lifestealer is still trying to play catch up a little bit, and unfortunately not the best flash farming hero. So it does mostly fall to Arteezy this game, which is maybe where he still sees the window.
Roll mid. They want Sumail, no Exorcism this time. Also, just the 1 Spirit Siphon charge, and that's the first Brewmaster split of the game. Sumail goes down to a Flying Shaker. A lot of heroes committed for that one and the Brewmaster split.
Ooh, they found Crit.
Canceling the roll. Nice Cyclone coming out, and yeah, Misery giving it the okay. He knows that. There's nothing he can do to save Crit. Nice little double kill in the mid lane from OG, making good value out of that first Primal split.
But looks like they might not be able to get the tower. They will be able to hold on to their tier 1 tower down bottom. Arteezy was pressuring it pretty heavily. Kezu able to TP himself in, and Arteezy without that much kill pressure really coming out with this build. So those Phantom Rush auto attacks do actually hurt quite a lot.
They add up, and it's a very low cooldown. We're seeing he's charging into 3 heroes, doppelgangering as well. He wants this kill. He's getting the solo. He's got Sumail to back him up, so he's going to have another Phantom Rush. He's just going to get the kill on Kezu. There's the Phantom Rush. Kezu getting chased to the side. There's that Phantom Rush. Agi. Arteezy. Oh!
Death Prophet Nuke just barely missing. He tries to rush away now, but gets caught by the Fissure. A little bit of a turnaround though. Sumail just waiting around the corner in the fog. And looks like that'll be the end of it down here.
This new EG proving very fun to watch with how aggressive they play. Arteezy looking for a 1v3 kills. You've got Sumail back on the mid lane, flashy heroes. Mid. Wow,
Chaotic Offering getting dropped. Whoa. Misery going for the solo kill.
Is this going to take him over? I believe he's dead.
Yeah. Actually looks like it. Mad gonna try for the deny to the Ancients. Not gonna happen. All right. Yep. That was definitely unexpected. Misery getting some great levels this game, in fact.
I don't think his teammates were expecting him to solo kill the core shaker.
Oh.
Toss away, breaks the Spirit Siphon. Sumail needs to be a little bit careful here. There's just one Spirit Siphon left. He has popped the X's, so there's good damage coming out. Here comes KheZu, no Primal Split for him. They've tossed Sumail away again. He's getting very, very low here, but he is back to safety, protected by the upheaval as well. And again, it's EG. They're the ones pressuring towers here. It feels like OG unable to really do so, even when they're getting kills. Perhaps able to launch.
Oh, they got the split
Oh,
again.
they will launch KheZu in.
Alright, that was nice.
And this toss initiation, you kind of talked about this being the other use for the Tiny in the early game. Meaning these cores don't need blinks early on. He's found many kills.
Yeah, JerAx is just spamming toss non-stop. He's harassing, he's setting his team up, keeping the Death Prophet at bay. I mean, they are falling a little bit behind in terms of the overall farm, 2K net worth advantage in EG's favor, but that was always kind of going to be, I think, the situation for OG here. The Medusa starts really slow, but then each item, each and every item is kind of a farming item on Medusa after that point, so you start to, once you get to the point where you can actually farm the Ancients, that's where the Medusa's net worth just starts to skyrocket.
And even with the slow start, Medusa is still in a very good place right now, net worth-wise. Behind the PL, but second on the charts. Perhaps more worrying is this Shaker who hasn't done well.
Smoke.
Yeah, they smoked into them, but there's 3 OG heroes there. Is there a toss initiation? Yep, they've got him. Shaker goes flying in, gets the stun, looking for the 2-man fissure, will just catch Crit. Gets taken out there. Misery does not have his ultimate, so couldn't really offer a whole lot in response. They see him though, they're pinging him out. OG will not find any follow-up kills, just the support Earth Spirit.
I think OG are a little bit upset that they didn't manage to get that smoke to run all the way over to the other side of the map, since I think that was also going to be a bit of a warding expedition. If you look at Fly's inventory, he had 2 obs. He does just plant one down over here and kind of watches RTZ farm a bit, but I think they would have much preferred to get all the way over into the dire jungle and ward up over there.
Oh, roll in. It's going to be Medusa dead. Sumail with a DD rune rotation up top brings down one of the OG cores. Bottom lane, OG. Mad is going. Oh, no, PL is going for the Battlefield. I had the wrong hero quick. I was like, what? He's going for a Battlefield? That's surely not right. He's going for a drums build. Or at least that's what he's got queued up. Top lane, KheZu with split up, considering an initiation here. Sumail with ultimate as well, but he can't be Cyclone Blink. Echo Bit against dodge. Fear! The old man reflex is proving to be up to par as he dodges the Echo Slam, gets the rage off, kills the Earthshaker. Could still be in trouble as, yeah, KheZu will finish him off, but that was a big commitment from OG coming up top, and nicely played by the Lifestealer to get a kill before he goes down there.
Extremely unfortunate for Fear that he just couldn't get the magic wand off. It was still on cooldown, and he didn't have the mana to use the infest. I think if he has that 50 mana, he just infests into a Radiant creep and they actually don't lose anybody there. JerAx looking for the toss.
Throws him back there, but there's going to be a Warlock counter initiation. Drops his ultimate with the upheaval. There's just no way to chase through this. And Tiny will throw away his life. KheZu couldn't really walk through and get his ultimate out there. Looks like EG really want this tier 1 tower.
And this is some of the beauty of running the Warlock with the Death Prophet, just always having that defensive counter-initiating support if they try and burst your Death Prophet down, and just buying that couple of seconds to let another Spirit Siphon get off, or giving the opportunity for the DP to just pop phase boots and run is always super useful. Not to mention the upheaval later on. Your Spirit Siphon to your upheaval, you're not going anywhere.
KheZu, ultimate's out. Doesn't get silenced because of this, but this is looking like a wasted Primal Split.
I think Sumail actually wanted the split more than he wanted the kill. If he'd really wanted the kill, he could have Yulesed him and then dropped him down into a silence.
Yeah, he did look to silence, I think, right as the Primal Split came out. Whoa, okay. Kill at mid. I believe that was the Earth Spirit setting that one up.
Looks like maybe they no, Infest not on Infest is off cooldown at the moment, so maybe not even Infest bomb, just crit lining it up.
Nicely done from EG. They get kills while they take towers. The Medusa farming relatively well, but a couple of deaths to Resolution's name has set him back by some small margin. And while OG are trying to set up some ancient stacks for him, EG have vision of this. They've also got the kind of lineup that can contest them. They're pressuring towers, they're taking objectives, and will be perhaps gearing up to fight Resolution at those ancients.
They're trying to just protect Rezo. The scan did hit. They know that there's somebody waiting around here. in the Radiant jungle, but whether or not they realize that it's the Infest Bomb Earth Spirit is really the big question.
I think they're expecting like an EG ward to be on this area. There's going to be the Infest initiation, but it's not going to even come out. They're going to blow up the Earth Spirit. Fear pops out, and he could be in trouble once his rage wears off. Medusa trying to get the Sun on Fear. He forces him to run away from Medusa a different direction. The toss in. Can they get the Earthshaker stuns off? There's no vision for a couple more seconds here, and not sure they can get this kill. He's trying to get the toss. Jerax needs vision. There we go. No stun available because of the rage, and Fear's just going to turn and fight. Taking a lot of damage on the Earthshaker. There's the Echo Slam just to save his life. Fissure available to follow up. They've got the kill, but he does go down to the Phantom Lancer. PL forced to scurry away. Fear does die, but takes the Shaker down with him. Able to lifesteal so much in that rage form.
And that was a 2v4, or 1v4, and Fear managed to find himself a kill. Very nicely played. And does go to show the, I talked about Tiny with the toss being a blink dagger for some of his cores. It's not quite the same, not as fast, always gives Fear the opportunity to be able to get the rage off. And Earthshaker, in fact, actually just going to be going for a drum, so he is pretty reliant.
Resolution dead again. Primal Split also used again. We've seen 2 Primal Splits in a row, not really used for a fight on OG's terms. Not sure they want to look to fight into this Warlock ultimate here either. So TZ will bring down, or look to bring down some of the splits.
And meanwhile, Sumail is behind the tier 2 up top, just killing off Jerax, being completely ignored, really, not being dealt with at all. They're focusing at bottom. He's picked up a Glimmer Cape just to make himself even more difficult to burst this game, since it is pretty much just Magical Burst that's going to be bringing him down until the Medusa gets a bunch of items. And Medusa not that far down the net worth chart, but has started to die back-to-back a couple of times, and just losing map control the entire time as well. It feels like EG are actually the ones completely in control of both Radiant Ancient camps. So that big farm source that I was talking about is now kind of cut off.
And PL with the Battle Fury could theoretically look to snag that at some point.
Definitely.
Warlock can back him up, perhaps waiting for a Death Prophet ultimate to go for that. We'll see what happens there. Sumail actually goes for a Glimmer Cape.
I like this. I think it's just, so one, they don't have any Invis heroes on their team to begin with, so it puts more economic pressure on the OG supports. And then it also just makes them that much more difficult to burst.
Infested Lifestealer again inside the Earth Spirit. Does have Vision of Resolution, but not a hero they can bring down without perhaps backup. The Phantom Lancer, his Diffusal, I believe, flying out on the Courier now, so.
Oh man, and the Death Prophet has an arcade rune.
Oh man, they've got Vision of everything with this Observer Ward too.
No exorcism
Rolling from Crit, looking for the Tiny, the pop out from Fear. Doesn't go for the Rage initially, so that means Jerax does get to toss him back.
They do have a blink on Khezu, but 30 seconds on the split and 30 seconds on the exorcism. OG just going to try and clean this Ancient stack up as a team, but being very defensive in their posture while they do it. And in fact, TZ just comes in and takes the majority of it very quickly.
Khezu silence up, but no follow-up. Just a defensive fissure. I don't think OG want to fight in this area right now, even though they've de-warded EG. Just doesn't feel like a good place to do that. Shaker well and truly not looking like a scary core at this point. Similar net worth to the Brewmaster, and it's all 3 EG cores out-farming him significantly.
Yeah, and in terms of the amount of money that they currently have towards the Blink, Jerax is actually ahead of him, almost 1K, while Mad just sitting back at about 800. They're going to pop the Exorcism over in the pit, looking to clean up Roshan quickly, and OG none the wiser, just smoking behind Resolution up top. Yeah. Who does take the tier 1 tower for free, but somebody can take this Aegis.
Sumail TP'd in after the start. He's going to instantly die. So the smoke pays off in the end. Looks like he thought that Resolution was just up there by himself, going for that while they took Roge. Misery here in the trees with a chaotic offering. Can he find a way to use this? Not without any teammates.
Yeah, EG just once again playing the lanes. Yeah, Misery's being found.
Okay, couple kills for OG as well as a tier 1. But still a tier 2 for EG and Aegis for EG, and Arteezy in this mid lane looking in a very strong position.
Yeah, we're still really yet to see the true strength of this Phantom Lancer, right? He finished up that 1 kill on the Earthshaker down bottom, but that was about it.
Yep.
So as soon as Arteezy really commits to a fight, I think that's where we're just going to see OG melt. The supports can't really do anything about him. The Earthshaker is going to have to get his spells off very quickly. He doesn't even have that much of a mana pool, right? He actually needs almost his entire mana pool to drop all of his spells once, which is quite scary against the Phantom Lancer Diffusal Blade now being picked up.
That's going to be the hard part. Just timing, like even from someone like Medusa, making sure you get your Stone Gaze off. When you kind of build up those one charges in case you get gone. If you get stunned and then PL's hitting you during that stun, you may just not get a Stone Gaze out. So you really need to have as many one charges as possible going into a team fight.
And EG, we almost have a Deso picked up on the Lifestealer, so they're just hitting a phenomenal timing. Sumail has 2,700 gold banked.
Yep.
So, I mean, maybe he could have gone for just a BKB instead of the Glimmer Cape if that was going to be their plan this game, just to end the game quickly with a timing push based on the BKB and the Deso. Could still go for it, yeah, and he does actually queue it up on his quick buy now. Maybe the Glimmer is also just to help out his supports, potentially, if they get gone on, or move himself into position so he can get a silence off on the Dusa or the Brewmaster.
It is, I mean, until later on when Medusa gets items, a very magic damage-based lineup too, so
yeah,
having that extra magic resistance can definitely help you out. Shaker's Blink just about to be complete in this bottom lane. Up to 2k gold, Jerex at 1,500. A full position you can farm Ancients, pretty nifty.
Yeah, it is the right Ancient camp, though, but yeah, it's helping out. And alright, there's the Deso. We have the Aegis up for another couple of minutes, and OG still just posturing around the mid lane. Deuce is going to be working her way towards a Scotty.
Seems like OG don't want to find the Aegis, and EG are happy to just use it as a farming agent.
Oh, Resolution getting caught up by Arteezy.
Yep. Doesn't get the ultimate off because he's been silenced, and Rezo gets brought down. No chance to wand and Stone Gaze. Quick kill on the Medusa, and Medusa really is the one last hope for OG. Seeing that Medusa go down is just an absolute travesty, as Tiny will drop as well. To the north, to the south is the AA. EG finding the perfect timing and initiation on a Medusa. May actually go high ground. They've got a decent duration left on this Exorcism. It felt like they were just using the Aegis to farm, but with just a little bit left on it, they pounce.
And no glyph either for OG. This is definitely at least the one lane. I think even if they bought back at this point, it's not going to do enough. They are just going to respawn on their heroes.
Exorcism with Desolator, they push incredibly fast. They may go for a second lane. Medusa's still dead for 15 more seconds. No, they're going to back off and play it safe likely. Exorcism has ended, and there's no reason to risk it for EG.
Yeah, at this point, the shrines are completely free. They can just go and grab those whenever they want. If they really want to secure the game, they're going to buy themselves a gem, completely deward OG everywhere, make them play in the dark, and just continue to farm up for a little bit longer. I don't know if they're close to another round of items. Arteezy almost actually has a Manta, it looks like.
BKB on Death Prophet is just about to be completed too.
Yeah, so Manta BKB going to be the next timing. Pick up the gem, move as a team, get the D-wards, take the shrines, and then look to close out the game.
Oh yeah. Much more even game on kills this one, but starting to look very one-sided as far as the game state.
The OG blinks are up, well at least the one blink. Tiny doesn't have it just yet, but they do have the blink up on the
Rezo. He gets the stun on the Earthshaker as well, who's behind the pushback from the Force-Staff of Medusa. Does get the Stone Gaze off, but EG can disengage. They have committed a Warlock ultimate, and the Brewmaster split perhaps going to set some kills up here. Tiny comes in from the side, throws up the Earth Spirit. Crit does get brought down. Fear was infested, so he now needs a way out as well. But that was everything from OG, from Stone Gaze to Primal Split. They now find themselves in a lot of trouble. Rezo Force-Staff TP to the high ground. Nicely played to escape from him, but his teammates will not be so fortunate. Kezu does not have the same luxury of a Force-Staff and will be chased down by the EG lineup. Aegis wears off, but nice idea from OG, you know, baiting the Medusa in the mid lane. They had everyone sitting behind him, but I don't think the Earthshaker actually got to do anything really that fight. He got stunned at the start and just taken out really.
Yeah, he got, I mean, if you look at the fight recap, he actually did 0 damage the entire fight, according to the recap at least. And yeah, he just got boulder smashed, then he got chaotic offering, and at that point just wasn't really able to do anything with the blink dagger or anything meaningful.
Yep. EG may go high ground. They've got at least an Arcane Rune on Death Prophet, so they've got a very liberal use of this Exorcism, considering that it's going to have a 100-second cooldown. They want to do some damage here with both Stone Gaze and Primal Split on cooldown. Consider it, but they don't have a creep wave, and that Stone Gaze is coming back up fairly soon.
I wonder It looks like EG potentially going to back up. I mean, they do know that the split is still on cooldown for a tiny bit longer, but once the split is back up, they'll definitely want to wait for their chaotic offering. So
they've got the gem you talked about. Keeping them in their base, starving them out, making it so that OG can't really make any moves without vision.
There's even a dire ward inside of the OG base, so they're even going to know if they go for a smoke play.
Puts OG in a very, very tough
Radiant's bottom
spot.
shrine is under
Very
attack.
difficult for Medusa to move out and get any farm. At this point, you're not going to keep up with a PL Death Prophet, and Medusa will not be able to solo. Talk about Medusa solo carrying game. Yeah, it kind of works if you're 4, 5, 6 slotted and on par or out farming your opponent. You're not going to be able to 1v5 when you're under farmed, and that's exactly the scenario Resolution has found himself in.
Yeah, we're at the point where a single disable from EG is enough for the PL to just completely wipe the Medusa off the face of the map. And yeah, PL now picking up his level 20 as well, so he's got the Phantom Rush range, even more difficult to escape from, and Arteezy really has no reason to back down at all from these fights. Can kind of just keep charging in. There's going to be that smoke from OG trying to poke their nose just a tiny bit outside of the base. But
there's a ping right on top of them.
Yeah.
Does Misery know?
Well, Chaotic Offering's back up. Could actually be a fight for EG, though they are a bit split. No Arteezy. Sumail showing up top.
Sumail's now looking to charge down towards his team. It feels like they have a decent idea of what's going on. Not sure if Misery caught vision of them. There was a D ward on that high ground hill, so EG just happy to back off for now. Top lane, Jerax is being caught. So he was just trying to take out some creep waves and did not get the blink escape. Pretty easy kill for the Evil Genius's side.
EG, do they even feel any pressure at this point to try and push up onto the high ground? Fly getting caught.
Yeah. D-Ward is there from Misery. Potentially going for roll into the high ground. They want to take this fight. Resolution losing a lot of his mana to the PL. Did manage to get the Stone Gaze off, but the problem is there's no Stone Gaze for this team fight. Exism on the high ground. Sumail just going at Resolution in and near the fountain. Will push him right back to the well. And that will free up this top lane to go for the tier 3 tower and the racks. Kezu did get a kill off of the split. He's now in a bit of trouble. Nothing to cancel his TP except the damage, and they don't quite kill him fast enough, yeah. Rezo again. Sumail says, back in the fountain you go. He wants to bring down this tier 3 tower. Will do so. Multiple TPs coming in. He BKBs, does not have a teleport scroll, but does have the distance to get the hell out of there. Arteezy at bottom takes another tier 3 tower. EG will not get another lane of racks, but buybacks being forced and tier 3 towers being taken seems like a decent enough claim for the time being.
Yeah, and they've even got more items coming in. Arteezy has a butterfly on the courier, so his damage is about to spike even further. Fear's got his S&Y finished. Sumail pretty much has the Shivas. And OG just spent all of their money on buybacks, so they're now 25k behind. I mean, a valiant effort to keep on holding, and I do have to say that I admire a team. If you're willing to pick Medusa, I feel like you also have to be willing to like play with Megas and see what happens.
And play from 25k gold lead.
Yeah,
deficits.
yeah. That's also part of it.
It's also just a one lane of Rax advantage right now.
Crip breaks the smoke, blinks away, silence onto the Tiny.
This could be a bad spot for the Tiny. Meanwhile, Brewmaster does not have ultimate and will go down. He was about 15 seconds short. The Tiny, well, similar fate for him. May look to deny the DD. Yes, he does. Mission accomplished, says Jerax.
And now
no
Mad
DD
also caught out Fear, and Crit find him over by this very hotly contested ward spot. That's 3 dead, and maybe that's the last whimper for OG, potentially.
There's a Roche respawn, but you don't need Roche if you're in EG's position. Just killed 3 heroes. No Exism for about 15 seconds, but not sure that's going to matter. Sumail's hitting the tier 4s. Meanwhile, Lifesteal's hitting racks top.
Arteezy's hitting bottom racks.
You talked about EG playing kind of not as a team just yet. They haven't needed to, because these 5 superstars have just crushed through every game they've played so far here in Manila.
To go after Fear, maybe the softest target, but still has the rage.
And he's just going to rage TP. Oh, it cancels. I was about to say, if you really want to go back to the found him when you're in a position to push high ground with Exorcism? The answer is no. As Sumail needs to be first down. There is a stone gaze here. Sumail doesn't seem to care. He just goes walking into it. The toss back, Medusa, Resolution getting, well, helped down a little bit, but Jarek, perhaps not so fortunate, puts himself in the firing line, goes down, and EG will finish off the last lane of Rax, getting the Mega Creeps. Perhaps the GG, you talk about playing against Mega Creeps, maybe one last Medusa hurrah. Resolution does have a lot of money to spend. There's the Blink Echo Slam. Can they bring down Arteezy? He gets forced out of the way. And Shaker, Seb will go down. Nice two-man rock drop. And it's going to be Rezo bursted down to follow this one up. EG cruise through to the winner bracket finals. They will have a top 3 placing here at Galaxy Battles guaranteed. But they're looking for more. They have had a very dominant tournament here.
Looking really good. I think the drafting in both 2 games was also spectacular. They knew exactly what they wanted. They even, I think, in some ways preempted what their opponents have been trying to do, and then just completely shut that down with the split pushing and all the really effective play with all 3 of their cores. And if I'm VGJ Thunder, I'm watching this series, and I'm a little bit worried. I feel like VGJ Thunder, you know, they're at least a cohesive team, but OG just got rolled over in this series.
It's hard because you don't know how to beat. You look at teams, you can kind of break them down a bit. EG, they very much just put a core in every lane and have their like star power win them games, it feels like in some ways. Obviously, a lot of testament to the supports, Crit as well as Misery, allow those greedier drafts to work, but it's not like there's a recipe, it feels like, to go up against this EG side. It feels very difficult to punish them with the way they're playing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you get a little bit more information here as to the kind of drafting that EG like, but all of their players also have such deep hero pools as well. So I feel like there's no obvious answer like saying, oh, look, you just have to ban this and you'll be okay. That is definitely not the case.
Well, that does it. EG through to the next round. OG will be playing in the lower bracket matches tomorrow. They drop down to the best of ones. Will try and redeem themselves. It's EG versus Vici Gaming J Thunder up next in a best of 3. But before we get to that, we're going to go back to the panel to break down this series.
Thank you very much, GoDz. Thank you very much, Basskip. It looks like we've already got one team going into, or actually we've got both teams matched up for today. VGJ Thunder going up against EG, going to be an exciting best of 3 series. OG, unfortunately, they crumbled. They tried to go for a very interesting lineup, AA support with a roaming Tiny and a mid-Earth Shaker, but it didn't quite work. What do you think was the mindset behind this from OG?
Interesting. I like that. That's a very considerate way to put it. There were like 1,000 different ways that I thought that OG could have landed, and that seemed like the least likely possibility and the least successful possibility. I don't really know what the plan was. Like, okay, let's say it all works out great. Let's say that Mad gets a ton of farm on Shaker. At the end of the day, you're not going to zone out a Death Prophet in the mid lane, so Sumail is still going to get farm, and I'm more scared of a Death Prophet that gets farm than I am of a Shaker who gets farm. Resolution didn't really have any attention paid to him by OG. Like, you weren't really helping him out with like stacking Ancients and stuff like that. Rezo was off farming the enemy jungle. From the beginning of the game, I was just so many questions.
I actually think that the Tiny just didn't have a lane to actually safely lane, right? Like, we talked about the matchup against DP. It's not a good one because you just get Siphon, you get right-click for a lot. I don't think you go off-lane against Lifestealer either because you just get raged on, you get open wounds, and you just die. Maybe you put him against RTZ's PL, but that's also not exactly an excellent lane. So once again, we just see like the opening pick for Tiny just getting exploited. I think the first pick Tiny has actually lost more in this event than the games have won. We saw it losing today earlier against the DP pick from VGJ Thunder. And then yesterday we saw, I believe it was Team Spirit punishing it with a Venomancer pick, just kind of kiting it to the bitter end. So Tiny often considered as one of the safest opening pick you can, but teams are really starting to figure things out here.
What is it that they've actually figured out that makes Tiny not as spectacular as he used to be? Is it just the fact that he's a bit static, or is there something else to this?
His playstyle is very predictable because you kind of know the build that he always goes for. It's either drums into Blink or Shadow Blade, and his role is to just jump in the front line, kill, and blow somebody up. And we've been seeing teams adjusting to more tanky front lines to withstand that combination. We've been seeing more DK or harder to kill heroes like PL. And then, of course, I already mentioned the laning stage. When he first splashed onto the competitive scene, it's like, oh my god, how do you lane against Tiny? He's a range hero that he hit for like 80 damage. Well, we see a lot of heroes and a lot of different lanes to actually punish him, just in this game and the previous game.
The idea to give Tiny less and less farm priority is the main thing. Like, Tiny one position I think is still just as viable as it was at the beginning of this patch, but then teams have gotten greedy. They're like, well, maybe we can just give him 2 farm position. You know, he'll still be useful. Maybe we can give him 3 farm position. He'll still find a way to be in the game, but that doesn't seem to be the case. And Evil Geniuses are no slouch when it comes to coming up with strategies like that. And yet again, Misery whips out a 5th pick core that
was on point.
Yeah, it was on point. And OG, like, maybe they were trying to mirror that kind of, hey, maybe we could do something crazy too, like let's have Shaker mid on Mad.
I don't think they're trying to like do something fancy or anything. I think they just realized, oh, Tiny's not going to work here. We got to switch things up. And unfortunately, the switch up wasn't as good.
The way I saw it is that you leave Rezo in one lane, you leave Kezu in another lane, and you send like aggressive tri-lane with the Shaker Tiny AA, because Cold Feet's definitely going to proc, and then once you get a few kills, you can let Shaker go to help out the Medusa.
Here's a problem, right? If Lifesaver's in that lane, he rages off. If PL's in that lane, he just double gangers away. So it sounds good on paper, just in actuality, it's just hard to actually kill the EG core. I think the casters were pointing out, they just pick hard to kill cores. If it's not this is Morphling, just waves away, right? Or a Weaver, I'm sure.
Or Puck.
Or Puck, yeah. Like they just have cores that are just super hard to actually kill.
Okay, so I guess we'll leave OG for tomorrow because they will be playing in the lower bracket matches tomorrow. But let's continue on with EG as they're going up against VG Thunder later on today. Now, they looked on point with their gameplay. Going up against VG Thunder, what are your thoughts on EG on that matchup? Is that going to be one-sided as well, or do you think VG Thunder is going to give them a run for their money?
So you and I were talking, we were like, you know, maybe it wasn't so much that they want to get rid of Universe, it's just like they wanted to tease RTC and be like, yeah, you can play mid again. You can play fun heroes again. But no, I'm just kidding. Sumail's going to play mid anyway. But that was against OG. And I mean, obviously all teams respect each other. But at the same time, maybe they're like, just send Sumail mid. I mean, this is going to be a Shaker mid. Who cares? Let's just leave him there. And so against VGJ, I don't know if you can get away with that kind of confidence. We'll see if, I mean, at this point, I have absolute faith in EG's drafts. That's no longer a question mark for me, which I don't think I had much data on Misery. Obviously his time on DC, he was a fantastic player, but on EG, like, it's a brand new set of players that you have to work with, all new heroes that you have to consider, but Misery has really worked his way in very well.
I think as a captain, EG is probably I want to say the easiest team to pick for because everyone has such deep hero pools and they are extremely flexible. I mean, sure, you say he was drafting for DC, but different set of players, different hero pool, different strategy that you got to keep in mind. So Misery drafting well, but also don't forget the other 4 with massive knowledge in hero pool. So, but you were asking about the matchup, and having cast the Thunder series, I think the weak point for that lineup is Fade and AO. Just matching up your supports. I feel like it'll look exactly what we saw in game 1 of this series, where you saw Fly and Jirax just stumble a little bit, and then every lane suddenly was just crumbling for your opposition. I feel like the EG support just are on point today, and they will be on point in that series, and they will outplay Fade and AO, and I'm expecting some sort of 2-0 trounce. Maybe the game time will add up to like 65 minutes in 2 games.
That's, is that optimistic or pessimistic? Because this one added up to like 45 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is a winter final, so let's give the Chinese team a little credit here.
Let's hope so.
All right, so for now, we're going to head on over to the main stage to Eri Neiman.
Ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause to Fear. EG taking OG 2-0. Give them a round of applause, guys. Come on. Okay, how does it feel to beat this version of OG?
I think it's a lot different for us because they're really good players individually, obviously, the 2 stand-ins, but they don't have like the same chemistry as like the normal OG would have. So we do want to play them again with their full roster, but this roster has a lot of potential too. So it was a lot of fun. We respect them a lot, and we had some good games in practice, yeah.
So they have a lot of, so you're tempting Seven Mad to be like, all right, maybe you should consider. No, okay, but quick question. So did you feel that? Did you feel that? Did you feel the difference? Because knowing you played with the full roster before, did you feel the difference?
For us?
Yeah, competing against them, the OG, the OG, of course, with 2 stand-ins. Did you feel the difference?
Yeah, there's a big difference for us, mainly in the way like the heroes they pick. Like it's a lot different, so it's like playing a completely different team.
Sumail, back at mid. A lot of people, of course, expecting that he would go off lane. What was the decision behind that?
I mean, I think we tried it, but you know, at the end of the day, like he's like, I'm just a mid player, so we're gonna play a mid.
Is Sumail back in mid then?
Yeah, he's our mid player.
Sumail's back in mid, everyone. I think they sound really happy about that. That's big news. That's big news. All right, so one last question. When you guys won the Manila Masters, you were, of course, coach of EG. How does it feel to be in front of the Filipino crowd playing with EG this time around?
I mean, it's always amazing to be in front of the Filipino crowd. The energy and the hype that you guys bring is amazing. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Fear of EG. Congratulations.